muscle. This protective ligament is the top edge of the conus elasticus, a membrane that hangs down like a smooth, strong curtain, protecting the underneath side of the vocalis muscle. Next, there is a covering made up of two layers: Reinke's space, a layer of loose fibrous material, and the stratified squamous epithelium, the outermost layer of mucous membrane. Reinke's space, because it's loose, moves markedly during vocal fold vibration. Researchers contend its movement contributes significantly to the professional sound. Because the vocal folds are layered and have an unusual muscular design, the edges can be transformed in many ways: thinner, thicker, and many other variations, all continually changing during singing, creating a wide variety of singing tones. Now, let's look at another intrinsic muscle, the external thyroarytenoid. The external thyroarytenoid muscle fills in the space between the vocalis and the walls of the thyroid cartilage. From the back-sliced view, we can again see how the external thyroarytenoids fill in the space between the thyroid cartilage and the vocalis. Like other muscles, when the external thyroarytenoid muscle contracts, it gets shorter and thicker and helps close the vocal folds by pulling forward on the arytenoids. Together, the external and internal thyroarytenoids make up the large, complete thyroarytenoid muscle. Located above the thyroarytenoid muscle is a second pair of folds called the false vocal folds, which are called false because they do not vibrate nor contribute to vocal fold vibration. We continue our tour of intrinsic muscles by visiting the two pairs of cricothyroids. These muscles attach to the outer surface of the cricoid and the inner surface of the thyroid, and are consequently named the cricothyroids. When the cricothyroids contract, they pull forward and downward on the thyroid cartilage, stretching the vocal folds, making them longer, thinner, and tenser. Let's look at these muscles and the movement of the thyroid from a side view. From the side view, we can again see that the cricothyroids attach on the outside of the cricoid and the inside of the thyroid. When we slice the larynx, we can again see the position of the cricothyroids. When the cricothyroids contract, they pull on both the thyroid and the cricoid, not only rocking the thyroid forward, but also rocking the cricoid backward. With the vocal folds in place, we can see that the contraction of the cricothyroids cause the vocal folds to stretch, to become longer, thinner, and tenser along the edges, a little like a rubber band. The cricothyroids and the vocalis oppose each other, as if in a tug of war. Let's see how they pull against each other. The cricothyroids pull forward on the thyroid, stretching the vocal folds. Then the vocalis contracts, pulling backwards, against the forward pull of the cricothyroid. In this steady tug of war, these muscles balance each other, smoothly controlling the thickness, length, and tension of the vocal folds, which affects the way the vocal folds vibrate and consequently the sound. These changes in thickness, length, and tension cause changes in pitch, as we will soon see. We will complete our tour of intrinsic muscles by visiting the muscles that move the arytenoid cartilages. These muscles govern the opening to the air passageway, the space between the vocal folds. This space is called the glottis. As we will see, these muscles can open and close the glottis partially or completely. Let's begin by looking at the interorytenoids, which are located between the arytenoid cartilages. We can better see the action of the interorytenoid muscles from a back view. When the interorytenoids contract, they pull the two arytenoid cartilages together. From the top view, we can see the same action. The interorytenoids pull the arytenoids together. By themselves, however, the interorytenoids can only partially close the glottis, leaving an open space between the vocal folds. The next set of muscles, the lateral cricoarytenoids, are attached to the cricoid and the arytenoid. When these muscles contract, they pivot the vocal processes to the center of the larynx. Again, these muscles only partially close the glottis. They too leave an open space. To completely close the glottis, both the interorytenoids and the lateral cricoarytenoids must contract, sealing the glottis, readying the edges for clean vibration. When they relax, the glottis opens to its normal position for everyday breathing. Finally, the last pair of muscles are called the posterior cricoarytenoids, which are attached to the cricoid and the arytenoids. When they contract, they open the glottis more widely than for normal breathing, for heavy work, for example. When these muscles bring the vocal folds together, the action is called adduction. And when the vocal folds separate, the action is called abduction. The vocal folds adduct in order to close the glottis and make sound, and abduct to take in breath. To summarize, let's center our attention on the 5 controls that govern the way these tiny folds vibrate. One major control is adduction, the closing of the vocal folds, which can be more tightly or less tightly closed. If adduction is too tight, the vocal folds squeeze the glottis, causing a tight, harsh tone that is undesirable in singing. If adduction is too soft, the vocal folds do not seal the glottis, causing a limp, breathy tone. But if the vocal folds are adducted completely and gently, the vocal folds can be free to move for pitch, loudness, and quality. Another control is thickness. The vocal folds get thicker and thinner to control pitch and vocal sound. Thick vocal folds produce slower vibrations, lower pitches, and a more robust tonal quality. Thin vocal folds produce faster vibrations, higher pitches, and a purer, more floating tonal quality. The vocal folds can smoothly adjust thickness and thinness to produce all the pitches of the vocal range. Another important control is length. The vocal folds also get longer and shorter to control pitch and vocal sound. Long, stretched vocal folds produce faster vibrations, higher pitches, and a purer tonal quality. Shorter vocal folds produce slower vibrations, lower pitches, and a more robust tonal quality. Another important control is tension. Too much overall tension causes a feeling of effort in the throat and a tight, harsh tone. Too little tension causes a weak, breathy tone. Appropriate tension produces a feeling of softness in the throat, of ease and openness, and a free, flexible tone. Just the right amount of tension for singing requires good coordination with the breath, which brings us to the final major control of vocal fold vibration, breath. Breath controls vocal fold vibration through the Bernoulli effect. In general, more breath pressure causes louder tones, and less breath pressure causes softer tones. Excessive breath pressure causes the vocal folds to tighten too much to maintain pitch, causing a tight, forced tone. Insufficient breath pressure also causes the vocal folds to tighten to try to maintain control, causing a weak, inflexible tone. Appropriate breath pressure is needed to maintain the appropriate tension in the vocal folds. Most of the movements we've seen today happen out of our awareness, just through our urges to communicate. Our vocal folds are intricate and tiny, only 3/4 of an inch long, but their vibrations, their smooth adjustments, initiate an extraordinary range of human expression.
Oh